Hello Internet, this is Mike with 143 Vinyl. So today I'm going to show you how to do jersey backs. We're going to do this style jersey back. And the first thing we're going to do is download Inkscape. So just go to the current stable version, and it directed me to the Windows installer package, and just download that. Make sure you're getting it from inkscape.org. And just by clicking that, it started the download, and you're literally just going to open that up and it's going to install Inkscape. And then I've gone to fontspace.com and I just searched for jersey, and I got this sporting outline. So you're just going to download that, open the zip file, and install it. I already have it. And of course you could choose any font that you like. So now we're going to start Inkscape. It always takes a little bit of second to load when I start it up. And this is the screen, or something similar to this. You might have a dark theme, but this is the basic layout of Inkscape. There it is. And you can change spacing and all of this here. You know, starting out with 225px sounds good to me. I'm just going to click and then just type. All right. So I have got my font, my name typed. Okay, and with that font typed, I'm going to go ahead and change the color. Let's just say we want these to be white. So I've just gone to the fill panel and just chosen white. And then I'm going to hit Control-Shift-R, and that's going to fit the SVG to my design. And then right before I save this, I'm just going to do Path, Object to Path. And that converts it to outlines. So now there's actual nodes. And that will prevent 143 from having to worry about whether it has a has that font or not. You know, you want to make sure you convert it to a path. And then I'm just going to name this Martinez, and I'm going to export it. Let's find a folder. So it's always good to start a project folder. So I'm just going to go to my designs folder and do Control-Shift-New, Control-Shift-N, and I'm going to do jersey names. And then I'm going to save. And then I'm going to hit Control-Z on this. I'll put up my layers panel so it's easier for me to see. That says text 1, but it's a path. So I'm just going to hit Control-Z until that layer goes back to being a text object. And then I'm just going to click, and I'm going to type my next name. And then I'm going to hit Control-Shift-R. And I'm just going to do Object, Path, Object to Path. And then I'm going to go to Export. And I'm going to name this one this name. And hit export, and then I'm just going to repeat that process. So let's look at that one more time. I'm just going to hit Control-Z until I get back to it being a text object. You can see the little T. I'm going to click, and I'm going to type my name, and then I'm going to hit Control-Shift-R, and then I'm going to go to export, well, path, object to path, and then I'll just name this one and hit export. And if I go and check my folder, it'll be a good time to do that. I should start having my SVGs lined up here. So I just thought I'd show you that a few more times. I'm hitting Control-Z, Control-Z. I'm getting back to where I can type again. I'm typing the name. I'm switching to my selector tool. I'm hitting Control-Shift-R to fit to the name. And then I'm using Control-K to convert it to a path. Really important that you do those steps or you're going to have one messed up. Just make sure you're following that process. Then if I want to save this as a template for myself in the future, I'm just going to back it up until I get, the editable text again. And then I'm just going to save this as, and I'm just going to put it in my folder. So I'm going to go to my designs folder and go to my jersey names, and I'm just going to call this one template and hit save. And then I would do the numbers. So now I'm going to save this as template number. All right, and I'm just literally going to just type the number. So I just typed, this is a personal use font, so apparently you have to buy it if you want the number. So let's find a font that you don't have to do that. So I found this collegiate heavy outline font that's 100% free. So perfect, license is freeware. So we'll install that. And then I'm just going to save this, and I'm going to close Inkscape since I installed a new font. In order to register the font, you have to restart Inkscape. And then I'm going to open my template number, and I'm going to go and select this. I'm going to switch to my text and font. If you don't have that, just go to text and font. And we're just going to search for that new one we just installed. There it is. And I'm just going to hit apply. And that has changed this to my numbers. So I'm just going to type the number 06. And I'm going to do the same process. Control-Shift-R to fit to it. And then Control-K to change it to a path. And then we're going to export it. And I'm going to call it, make sure I choose plain SVG. And I'm going to call it 06. And by using SVGs, we don't have to worry about the size. And with some fonts, this one seems to be one, you really need to make sure that you fit it each time, even if it looks close, because there's just a slight variation between the letter size. So every time I'm hitting Control-Shift-R and then Control-K, and then typing the number down here and exporting it. Okay, so I have my numbers and my names made. I've got 14 numbers and 16 names apparently. Don't need all those. Oh, well, it's my templates. So what I could do is I could make a new folder and put my templates in there so I don't confuse myself. Perfect. And now I'm just going to go to 143vinyl.com. Not the admin mic. Let's just go straight to the DTF page. Direct to film transfers. And I'm going to click on the layout designer. And I'm going to change it to a 5-foot gang sheet. And then I'm going to start adding my images. So I'm going to go to my designs folder where I put that jersey names. And we'll just do the numbers first. So that's added it. It made it 0.7 inches wide. And with this, I think we're going to go 10 inches wide on the name. So we'll do 10 inches. Nope, this is the number, excuse me. So we'll go 6 inches wide. And it's 4.7 inches high. So we probably want a consistent height. So I'm just going to go 6 inches on the height. That makes it 7 inches wide. Okay. So now I'm just going to keep adding them. I'm actually going to switch this to the light dark mode so that I can see the numbers better. And as I add the next one, I'm just going to drag this over to be 6 inches high. Stop right at 6. This one I'm going to move down. And one thing that would make this a lot easier is if you could just take the time to figure out what size to make it in Inkscape. But I didn't want to overcomplicate this tutorial. But that would certainly make your life easier. Because you wouldn't have to adjust each one. And they would all just add consistently. And that one I'm almost out of room, so I'm not going to push it. I don't want to make my cutting apart these more difficult later. And you can always lock it right over here to the right hand side, which makes sense to do with these, to just go ahead and orient them all the way to the right. So I have been paying attention to how big these are getting, and they're really getting wide. So I just made the realization that I'd like to go ahead and squish these. So I'm just going to make this squish to 6 inches. I'm probably going to go, yeah, 6.5 is fine. So I'm just going to readjust all these. And the way to squish them, just squish them in and then look at the size you achieve. 6.8, go a little more. 6.4, I wouldn't obsess about it, you know. 6.5 is close enough. So that way we can get all these to be consistent. And you can definitely do this step in Inkscape. This is going to save us some money too. And probably look more professional. 6.6, 6.3, I told you not to obsess and then I'm doing it. 6.5. Yeah, that's going to save us some money because I can get 3 per row. This is the kind of font too that's going to really work well squished. It's not going to be terrible. Some things just look terrible when they're distorted. I think this is going to look just fine. Okay. Got a bit of a storm raging out there. Okay, so I've got all my numbers positioned. They're all 6 by 6.5. And I'm just going to move on to my names. And it's the same process. You know, we're just going to scale these up. I'm going to look for a consistent height. I'm going to see what this looks like. So that's at 10 inches wide by 1.3 inches high. So that's, I think, what I'm going to go with here. And we're just going to rotate it. These will fit better this way. And we'll just start putting our names on there. And if you need to make fine adjustments, just click on that bar right there and use your arrow keys. And I think you can use your best judgment on this and just decide to stretch some of them out if the name's really short, just to make things look a little bit more consistent. You know, if the name's super short, I would stretch it slightly. So there we go, 1.3. Nobody's going to be getting out a ruler and measuring these. And sometimes the layout designer is kind of flaking out on me, and I'm having to scale things differently. You know, I just had one where it just kind of wasn't scaling properly. So I've never had that happen before, but I just dealt with it by dragging this part out and then making sure it still made sense with the width and height of the other one. So, you know, this is just this is a new process for me too. Obviously, you can just scale it as you need right there. So we'll just keep putting these along. And then here's an example of a really short one that I might scale up a bit. I mean, I wouldn't try to make everything consistent size, but you could take this and make it the 1.3, and then you could stretch it just to make it a little bit. I wouldn't go crazy. I'd just do a little bit of that. Alright. Got all my names. Got all my numbers. Got plenty of room. Everything fit on one gang sheet. So that's 14 jerseys that I'm going to have, you know, for $32. And then if I had a couple other things, but I wouldn't worry about it. You know, if I had some front designs, you know, I could fit those on the bottom of this. Hey, so there you go. It took me about 30 minutes, 16 minutes of recording time. Hopefully that really helped somebody out there. Let's look at our proof. Yes, it saved everything faithfully, so we should be good to go. And then you could order this and keep going with the rest of the team. Hey, I hope it helps. Take care.